Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Pranzata podcast. This is episode number 34 on my podcast series here on YouTube. I have a special guest today. His name is Bobby Mahoney. He is a musician from New Jersey. He has a punk band, a punk/alternative rock band from Asbury Park, New Jersey. And the name of their band is Bobby Mahoney and the Seventh Son. I'm so glad I didn't fuck that up.
Nailed it.
Yeah. I'm really excited to have him here. Before we get into it, if you're new to this channel, this is a podcast, a video podcast I do on YouTube where I interview musicians, comedians in the New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia area, and I sometimes do solo podcasts if I don't have a guest. If you're into that kind of thing, don't forget to hit subscribe, don't forget to hit like, and don't forget to comment on anything that we talk about throughout the podcast. So let's get right into it. Bobby Mahoney. I'm so glad I didn't fuck up your name because I've been fucking up the names of the past couple guests. So.
I'm honored and honestly surprised because most people do fuck up the band name in some fashion.
I like studied you before you came here. I was like, I like stalked your profile, read your stuff, and I'm so happy I didn't screw that up.
Oh, thank you. Again, I appreciate the homework being done.
Yeah. So for every guest that I have here, I usually ask them questions related to their field, but I always begin the podcast with an uncomfortable question to break the ice about self-awareness. So
okay.
I hope I don't shock you, but I think you'll be fine.
Bring it on.
What is a character flaw that you are currently working on right now as a person that you can honestly look at yourself and say, I need to fix this?
This is good. Well, there's a lot, and everyone watching this is gonna have a completely different. Like, oh, it's got to be this thing. And when I say what I'm not like, no, he's fucked up in other ways. But I'm trying to be less of a people pleaser. How is that count? Is that okay?
Yeah, I can relate. That's why I nodded. I was like, yeah, I can totally relate. So give me some examples.
So I don't like saying no. I don't like letting people down.
Yeah.
I don't like, but I also don't like doing things. Yeah. I tend to overextend myself and then like to complain about overextending myself.
Yeah, I feel like that's a common thing amongst me and my friends. I feel like I have a lot of friends who say the same thing. Like they just can't say no to things. But we just discussed before we started the podcast that he is 26. Yes. I'm 33, so there's a bit of an age difference here. And I can tell you that's a problem I had at a young age. And the fact that you've already identified it and you're like, oh, I need to work on it. That's like good news that you've already identified it.
Yeah.
Because, it takes some time to work on it. It's something I'm still actively working on. A problem I had with that was like, I used to say yes to everything. And then like the day that I decided to finally start saying no, it would come across as like a giant blow up because it was like years of pent up saying yes to everybody.
You're like, no. And just like screaming like, no, fuck you. No, I'm not doing it.
It takes a while to like find the balance. Okay. So that's good to know. The next question I have for you, I put up a Q&A on Instagram and we only got one question, sadly, but it's one of your friends. And I don't know anything about this topic, but apparently you do. So your friend, I don't know how to pronounce this Instagram handle, Turitibits?
I think it's going to say it's Tori. I'm going to get it's my friend Tori. It's easier.
I say Turitibits.
Tori, I'm going to call her.
Like Tourette's.
Turitibits.
Tori
Tibbets.
Oh, Tori Tibbets. Okay. Tori Tibbets, his friend, wants to know, who is your favorite Batman actor?
Oh, that's a good one. And she does know me because that's a good one. I'm going to start by saying I'm honestly more excited about Robert Pattinson than I thought I was going to be because like that's coming out next year. I'm nerdy about this stuff. Okay. So I'm excited about that. I have a soft spot for Adam West because I grew up with like the campy, like watching the reruns of like the campy 60s Batman. Okay. I do also very much like Christian Bale. I thought those, like Dark Knight in particular. Okay. So I have so many answers to this question. Way more than the music stuff. So.
I can't. Now that's sad for me because I can't engage in this conversation because my listeners know that I'm a movie idiot. And that's okay. That's like a common theme that we talk about on the podcast where I'm like, help me learn. I literally just got my first TV and I'm 33.
I think I saw that Instagram story. So I did my homework. I followed along a little
bit. So the audience is going to have to comment on what he just said because I don't even know any of the people he just said. That's how bad it is. Yeah. So I actually have a follow-up question to that.
Okay.
Since you mentioned to me before that when I was asking you like what you're into, you said you liked movies. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, great, because I'm a movie idiot. So if I'm new to movies and I have my TV and I'm like, I'm going to watch a movie. What 3 movies do you recommend like I should see? Like I have to see these if I've missed out on all the movies. And you don't have to. We can edit out a waiting period if this takes.
No, I mean, I have my first one that comes to mind because I know you're in comedy as well. Would be Blazing Saddles.
Never seen that.
Mel Brooks. That's a good one. It's fucked up, but it's good. It's really good.
I have seen some movies, and I am recognizing the genre I like. I think I like psychological thrillers because I liked The Joker and I liked Black Swan. So I'm like, and Taxi Driver, which apparently is a lot like The Joker.
Yeah, it's same, just like DC skinned.
Yeah. So say this one again that you just said.
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles. What about 2 more based on what I've been enjoying?
Well, you just said I would say Shutter Island.
Never seen that
with Leo DiCaprio. I think it might be Scorsese. I think it is, but don't get mad at me, film bros. I'm sorry. You said you're a movie idiot. I'm kind of just an idiot. So like I've seen a lot of movies, but I'm also just not.
You don't have like the facts straight.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure. And then the next one is I'm not going to give just one. I would say Godfather 1 and 2.
I know I have to see those.
Just because that's the one like I think people say Citizen Kane and stuff like that, and that's another one. It's like classic, but like The Godfather I think is good.
A lot of people have been telling me that. Like I feel like I'm Italian and I haven't seen any like the only Italian mobster movie I've seen was Bronx Tale. That's the only one I've seen. It was very good.
I haven't seen that one, and so like I'm sure it's one I got to see. But I think those Godfather 1 and 2. I haven't seen the third one, but they say you can skip that one. But then I would say it's not Godfather, but it's Al Pacino and the guy that plays one of the characters in The Godfather, and it's an abomination. I'm forgetting his name, but they're in a movie called Dog Day Afternoon.
Okay.
That's really good too.
A lot of people have been telling me to see Goodfellas as well. Have you seen Goodfellas? Yeah,
I just watched that recently and for the first time. And
did you like it?
I did. That was really good. And I get one of those like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
That and Reservoir Dogs.
I've heard. That's so funny. I almost saw that one. Like when I was like looking at movies to watch, I was like, oh, I'm going to see this one. And I ended up not seeing it for some reason. But that was one that I was considering watching.
It's good. And I know it's like a very like white male thing to be like, oh yeah, Tarantino. But like I do his movies are pretty good. A lot of them.
I have a friend who's like really heavily, and again, I know nothing about films like or stuff. I have a friend who's like heavily into film, and he was explaining to me recently like that he's no longer into Tarantino. Like he used to love and be obsessed with him.
Okay. And
these days he's become like more egocentric. Do you know anything about that? And you have an opinion about that?
He's definitely, it seems like, I mean, I'm, if you're watching this, Quentin, like don't take this to heart, and I definitely would like to hang out. But like I could see him being like, he is a great director and he very much knows it.
Yeah.
And like he'll be the first to tell you that, I feel like. I just think he's at the point in his career where he's the biggest he's ever been, probably, and like he can do whatever he wants.
His shit now.
Yeah, and like who cares? But like, and he has like the evidence to back it up. Like whether or not you like, if you don't like the movies or not, you can back up that there's a lot of people that do, and you can resonate. You can at least, you can't argue that he's not a good storyteller, or like but you can say you don't like his movies, which is fine, But like it's just one of those things like. At a certain point, like, art is art, and like whether or not someone's opinion of it doesn't make it art or not, Like I once got into an argument with my high school band teacher because he referred to like classical music in jazz as like high art or like art music.
Yeah.
Which I get it. But at the same time, I was like, fuck you. Like,
no,
who's
I
to
know
that,
mean.
like, me with my 2-chord out-of-tune guitar isn't as much art, which, again, or you could make the argument either way. But, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, who's to say what art is?
That's so funny you mentioned that because in college, and I'm not going to name names because I actually like this person as a person, but in college, I had a music professor, who made the claim in the class that she's a classical musician, and she said, she just used this specific band like as an example, but she meant all rock. It's gonna piss you off, but like it's gonna piss everybody off.
Get ready.
She was like, I don't care what they say, the Rolling Stones and that type of music, that is not music. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? like
it's so funny that you say that too, because I've been on such a nerdy Rolling Stones kick. And
so
I'm
it's like the right one.
I'm prepared for like this
fight
essay.
this bitch.
Yeah, I'm ready. So the
but
Stones,
her argument was like exactly like what not I don't know if your teacher was saying that punk or whatever isn't music, but even if you're gonna get that granular with it, and like let's say you wanted to argue, okay, 3-chord punk band isn't punk, the Rolling Stones are not a 3-chord punk band. Like they're definitely music. Like
yeah,
like,
and it's like to me, it's like hearing that is just me hearing people yelling about how rap now isn't music, and like,
that shit pisses me off too.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just like and I'm sure in 30 years we're gonna hear whatever is current at that point in time and go, what the fuck is this? You know, where's the good old days like with Lil Nas and
it's like
a
repetitive pattern.
Well, no, but like and like you could say this, to me, it's like not about, and like you could say high information music, like something like Hindemith or like really intense jazz, or like it's really like there's a lot of harmonic shit. It's really deep, and
we have to remember that like this is where music originated. Wasn't it like chanting, like monks chanting?
Yeah,
like, isn't that like the
unison?
birth of,
like or barely harmonizing.
or I can imagine like the Native American Indians being like, oy, 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 and like banging shit, and it's like.
It's all music. That's the thing. Yeah, like I could be, putting this, sponsored by Bubbly, but like putting this on the table, I could put that out on Spotify and be like, that was my fucking album. That's my new single. Theoretically, would I do that? No. And is that stupid?
Okay,
yes.
I guess you could say classical. We can get this direction maybe. I guess you could say that classical music is highly intellectual music. You could say that, like where it's like they're really trying to accomplish like something really grand with it or tell a huge story, but you can't make the claim that like it's the only art music. Like all music is art, all creative.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say. I don't know if I'm articulating it correctly.
No, but it's fuck those people. It's pretty much it's what we're getting at. And like again, you could not like it. You can not like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like as much as I like them, there's a bunch of songs I don't like, and at a certain point. There's 100 things that had to go right to make those, drug-addled humans, as successful as they were. Honestly. And like again, they're extremely talented. They're, I really like them. I'm a huge fan. Yeah. I'm wearing the wrong jacket, but my other jacket has a Rolling Stones.
Can you imagine if I said that?
I was kind of like, I looked down and I was like, oh, I'm not wearing that jacket. But
I was gonna comment too about the rap thing too. Like when people say like rap isn't real music, like. Not only is rap music, but I was just thinking about this and talking about this with my friend the other day. Not only is rap music, but it's like more than just like rap is basically like being a musician and a drummer and a comedian in one package, because they have like punchlines with their word. Like it's like a poet / stand-up comedian / drummer. Like they're drumming with their mouth. It's just like it's insane. Like it's like really complex music.
It is,
like the people who see it as like, oh, it's not music. It's like you're so fucking stupid.
Now again, is there bad rap? Yeah. But is there bad rock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No. But so I'm trying to practice positive self-talk more. So
bad.
Bad. Yeah, no, I shouldn't do that. Good rock. But like
I have a hot take about that though.
Okay.
I have a theory that like I think in order to be a good artist, you have to talk shit about yourself.
Certainly, and I'm very good at that. That's why I'm a true artist then, But I think that said, and I had a feeling we'd get into this a bit, like just this general topic of like artist mental health.
Yeah.
But like I think, while we are our biggest critics, we have to also keep in mind that while it's art and while it matters more than anything.
Yeah.
It's like, there's always going to be another song. There's always going to be another painting until we're dead. But like, you know what I mean? But like, I think and especially in the world we live in where like songs are like production, like and everything is like, every song is almost like in a perfect world, like in a dream state, in a vacuum, what would the song sound like?
Yeah.
Whereas recording in another sense, really just documentation.
Yeah.
Like, if we set up one microphone in here and played a song.
Yeah.
That's a recording, and as with all the faults and imperfections of that.
Yeah, you can be paralyzed with self-criticism. To a certain extent, I am. I could use a little pull in the direction of like, let's get things moving, because I'm kind of a perfectionist in the things I do, so it takes me a long time to put things out. But that again, that is a strategy.
It's good. No, and that's great. And I was saying the other day to somebody, I sometimes think like a perfectionist, but I've been bad at it and been open and been publicly, visibly failing. And not always failing, but like putting things out and falling on my face since I was 15, 16 years old. Like earlier than that, my friends would be like, "You were falling on your face much earlier than that and embarrassing yourself way before that." Which is true. But like, it's one of those things. Like to quote Toy Story, it's falling with style. In a way. It's like it's all a learning curve, and again, like you want to put out good stuff. So right now we've been recording the same we've been mixing and working on the same 5-song EP since last October. Yeah. So I'm at that perfectionist bit. Yeah. I'm like, how's this kick drum and minute 4 of the 5th song, and like I'm driving myself nuts. And as artists, no, we do that. But at a certain point too, you gotta shit or get off the pot.
I feel like there's kind of like 2 schools of thought with that. Our friend Matthew Kerner, who's our mutual friend, buddy. We all know each other.
Feeney,
yeah. So
Smoked Honey?
Yeah, Smoked Honey, that's our new band name.
Yeah.
Matthew is very much of the school of thought, you got to keep it moving. And he studies the Beatles. When I say studies the Beatles, he's obsessed with the Beatles. Like I always joke that he could have like a Beatles like degree, like he could be a Beatles professor by now because he knows all these like facts about the Beatles. Like he went really deep. But one thing he told me about the Beatles was that they were of the school of thought of like keep it moving, like write the song, have it done today, like of that thought. Some other artists, such as like the 2 that come to mind would be Bo Burnham and Fiona Apple. Those are the 2 that pop to my head. They'll disappear for 10 years and then just come out with a banger. So there's like different schools of thought. It's like, okay, hide in your cave for 10 years, make it perfect and put it out, or keep it moving. And I feel like the end result's the same. You end up with this amazing product either way. There's like hundreds and hundreds of Beatles songs. There might be a couple that you're like, I'm not really a fan of that one. I don't like the I'm going to hold your hand type stuff. Yeah. But by going through that process of keeping on doing it, you eventually get to like the heavy stuff anyway. So it's like different schools of thought, same result,
Different processes and like, yeah, absolutely. And like, I think also like, we as artists, we spend a lot more time thinking about the process than actually doing it. Yeah. And like, while I do, like, I love reading books about artists, their process. And again, I've been really nerdy about the Stones. I've been listening to this podcast where this guy goes and on, March 4th, these 4 Stones were working on this song and then these drug dealers came in and like really nerdy shit, and like, I love that. Yeah. And to me, that's almost more interesting than listening to the album in a way. But that said, like we can, all that stuff, process, just, whatever is working for you at that moment, just do it. Like, so right now for me, my process has been write a fragment of a song, let it sit in the voice memos or whatever, then flesh it out, acoustic, whatever. Yeah. Maybe let it marinate and sit. I've been thinking about it as marinating and letting it sit.
That just made me hungry when you said that.
Yeah,
like I didn't eat dinner yet, and I'm just like, ooh, steak. That sounds really good.
Yeah, there you go. So we'll be at Outback after this. But like, sponsored by Outback. But like, Outback threw me off too, steak. But letting it sit, and it's one of those things where I almost like won't touch it again until I find myself humming it. Okay. Like just like making coffee the next day, or like another time, it's like maybe even a month, 6 months, 10 years later, I'll go, I'll be humming something like, okay, so that means it must be, rise to the top of like, oh, I'm stuck in my head, I'm singing it. And then I'll go back and like, okay, let's really flesh this out, get like sort of like a demo, and like, I'll even like, as a teacher, I'll do like almost like an outline for like you do for like a history paper. Yeah. Like, intro and like what I imagine what'll like instrumentally what will happen. Like the drums come in or whatever, and like do a whole outline for the song, take it to the band, we arrange it and rehearse it as a band, then everyone kind of gets their input there, and it kind of changes, and then we go start to then record it. Yeah. But with these songs, it was a COVID, we didn't have as much band time. Yeah. The songs were all pre-COVID. So like it's not like it's like a COVID record, even though it kind of is in a way. Because I didn't want to do the COVID record, but it kind of ended up being that just because of it's like the documentation of the time. We recorded it in a basement studio. We were all like separate with masks on doing the initial tracking.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like kind of going back to what we were saying in the process, it's like you have this, I think the picture that you have in your head, it's never like, when you go to record something, it will never be what you pictured.
No.
You don't know it. And I'm having a lot of like ADD thoughts right now. I'm like, okay, which one should I follow? I'm going to follow the tattoo one. Yeah. Same thing with tattoos. Same thing with the process of getting tattoos. When I approached my tattoo artist, I had a vision in my head of what I wanted, and I have to explain that to the tattoo artist, and I have no idea what it's going to actually look like. All I can do is like, hey, I have this grand idea. This is what it's going to look like. So at the end of the idea, I just had to pick a tattoo artist that I loved her work no matter what. So that way I knew, okay, she's definitely not going to make exactly what's in my head, but whatever she's going to make is going to look good. Looked a lot different than what I pictured, but I loved it. So it's like kind of like the same thing with music. It's like, there's going to be imperfections, and you don't really know what the final product is going to be, but you have to kind of accept what it is.
Exactly. Like I might hear a drum part in my head, but one, I'm not a drummer, and my drummer is going to play it his way, which is, why he plays the drums in the band. And my, and Andrew, the guitar player, James on the drums was going to play, James is going to play it how James is going to play it. Like, and James would play it different from any other drummer in the world. Yeah. But that, James will give his, impression of, what I described to him as a bunch of booms and, me just being like, and honestly, teaching has made me at least competent in at least in like the AC/DC drumming school, but past that, I'm a terrible drummer. So like, I'll explain a part to him and he'll go, I'm not an octopus. I can't do that. That's not possible. So then he'll do what is possible. Yeah. And again, it might not be exactly what I initially thought, but it'll work, and then it'll be great, and it'll be what it is. And then, Andrew would do the same thing on the guitar, and it might not be the lead I pictured, but it could be better. Yeah. And James could come up with a better drum part, or John could come up with a better bass part than I imagined, So that's what's nice about having that collaborative element, which is something that I argue that like the Stones had over someone like Bach or Beethoven or Mozart, because they didn't just have one genius in the room. You could argue that Keith Richards and Mick Jagger or Paul McCartney and John Lennon, bouncing ideas off each other, then bringing that to Ringo and George Harrison. Yeah. That's why Matthew has a degree in it now. Yeah. And again, Keith Richards and Beethoven, it'd be it's an interesting dichotomy, and I can already hear people being upset with me. It's sparking my mind with like all these questions that I'm really excited to ask you. So I'm going to jump to this question because we're talking about this is going to be a very selfish podcast for me, because I just want to say I've been following him on Instagram, and I really respect him because you actually seem like you're successful in music and you're young, and I'm like, that's rare. Like you seem Instagram, baby. You make it seem like it.
No, I know for a fact that you're actually like getting somewhere with music, because I have friends who are stand-up comedians, and I'll watch their stories and they'll be like, I'm at this show, Bobby Mahoney. I'm like, he's getting around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I message them. I'm like, I know that guy. And they're like, oh my God, he's awesome. And I'm like, okay, like if I'm watching like people on Instagram stories that are not related to music at all, and they're like at your concert, I'm like, okay, this guy's getting around. He's actually he's becoming successful in this field. So I am like so this is going to be selfish for me, because I'm like, now I want to pick his brain so I could become successful in music. So a lot of these questions are about challenges I'm facing as a new band, because I just started a band. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for that. That's all extremely complimentary. And I'm
I really look up to you. I'm like, wow, like he's got it going on right now. You know what I mean? Like you seem to be doing a lot of live shows. You have like a packed audience. So I have a lot of respect for that. So I have a lot of questions about all of that. One of my questions is, how do you, and we were kind of talking about this before, how do you balance out the balancing act between creativity and making money? So for example, like the band I'm in now, sometimes like some of the band members are like, we have to take wedding gigs because they pay really well. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, but this is about the art of it. And like, so we kind of go back and forth about that. And they're like, yeah, but we got to make money, and the money will lead to the art of it. And I'm just like, okay, so how do you deal with that? Like, do you take on gigs, like wedding gigs and stuff like that, because it's part of the financial aspect, or you just you don't care about the money? I'm curious how you do it,
It's like, I feel like I'm thinking it's like that Wayne's World bit. Have you seen Wayne's World?
No.
Add that to the list. But there's a bit like, no, we don't care about the money. Like very much caring about the money. But no, as a rule, I have yet to really dip my toe in the wedding game. Okay. Because I know how good it can be financially. but I'm just not ready for a Coke and dry chicken habit yet. You know, no, I'm kidding. And no offense to anybody who does wedding gigs, because again, that's a really hard job. And like, I have a lot of respect for musicians that can do that and do it consistently and do it well.
Yeah.
But I also have heard from a lot of people that it's extremely soul sucking, or it can be.
That was one of my fears about it.
And again, and you might have other experiences, and then again, I'm not trying anybody that does it like good for. Like, I also I think part of it is an insecurity on my part and not feeling like my voice is pretty enough, or like feel like I'm talented enough to pull off doing like wedding band music.
Stuff. Yeah,
but that's another. I got into writing songs and doing my own original stuff is one because I didn't want people to tell me I was wrong. When I first started learning songs, I didn't want to like, oh, like, you know, here's how you play this person's song. You know, there's a right and there's not a right and a wrong, but there's a right and a wrong. But in writing your own songs, well, fuck you, I'm right. You know, and I can. But that was me trying to justify me not knowing how to play the guitar when I was 10 years old and not knowing how to sing. I have worked and I have, you know, spent a lot of time trying to improve my voice, and I think I've gotten to a point where it's a useful tool for myself to convey whatever I'm trying to convey.
It must be working because, like I said, that my comedian friends are watching.
They're just coming to laugh at me. That's, you know.
I was literally just thinking that too. Like,
they're only
like
the comedian friends. It's only them. There's something funny about it.
I've seen like 3 of my comedian friends watching you, but no, they loved it. They were like, this guy, like they're like taking videos of you. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This guy's fucking getting around. Like, he knows something.
But I was trying to think where else I was going. But like it's tough. So that's like during the day I teach. So like teaching helps.
That's your money maker.
That's the money. So again, like the way I see it, most musicians aren't going to be making much money between 8:30 and 3:30 during the day anyway.
That's a good point.
And like my friends that aren't, their schedules are totally flipped. They sleep all day and then they're out on
what
night.
I'm gathering is like the way you do it is your daytime is your money maker, and you're in the actual performances, it's less about the money and more about the
because
like
as a band, like we've gone to Ohio to play to 7 people and make pretty much no money and come back. You know, so like finances are not my strong suit by any means. And my future accountant's going, "What the fuck are you doing?" But so is my current accountant. But like,
I can relate to that sentiment with being a stand-up comedian. I do it for the enjoyment of it. I hope one day to become successful enough to get paid. I do get paid gigs, but it doesn't pay much.
No, and I mean, I imagine as a comedian that's even worse, honestly, with the money side of it, because I mean, musicians have it bad.
Okay, here's the pro about that though. Between comedy and music, comedy doesn't pay much at all in the beginning. Like, music definitely pays more in the beginning. Like, as a beginning band, you can make somewhat of a decent amount of money at a gig. The downfall is you have to carry all this shit, and that's actually one of my questions for you next, so I'm gonna get right into that after I say this. But as a comedian, like, you don't get paid much in the beginning. Like, you might at best make $20 to $50 a show that you do. At best $50 as a beginner. Most likely not. Most likely you're getting paid like $20, but you don't have to bring shit with you. It's an easy fucking gig. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you bring one of these, maybe, you know.
No, you don't even have to do
bring
that.
your own stool.
You just show up. You know? So that's like the trade-off.
Bring your own brick wall.
Yeah.
You know.
So like, if I could keep doing that, and I consider it like a hobby at this point, where I'm like, or a passion, I'm like, one day if you actually become successful, like, you're gonna make big bucks doing that. But it's from the beginning, you don't get paid shit. But that's actually my next question for you about the gear. Yeah. So how do you maintain your sanity with all the gear? Like, that's like one of my anxieties about this business. It's just like, how am I gonna age? Am I gonna age well? Like, or are my bones gonna like
No, I'm definitely abusing my body, and my condominium is definitely bursting at the seams when it comes to gear.
How does your wife, or not wife, but how does your fiance deal with this? Does she get pissed off?
She's very good about it, but today there was a discussion about how guitars need to be moved into the music room, because I have my own office that I'm able to have guitars in, and they don't necessarily need to also be in the living room.
Fair. Now I'm going off track with the questions, but I have a lot of respect for your love life too, because
thank you.
You're 26 and getting married. I'm 33 and single. I have a lot of questions because, so you must have a wife that's okay, or a fiance that's okay with you being a musician. Yeah, that was very much, she knew me as a musician. Like, so we met, we went to high school together. So she always knew me as weird kid with guitar. So I'm still holding to that. So
but when we got seriously talking, it was a thing. I'm like, well, this is what I need to do, and this is what I'm going to be
cool
doing.
With it. I think as a woman being in that position, it's a lot harder because when you think about like the future and the whole idea of like raising a family and stuff, like the woman is usually the one staying at home with the kids. So me being like the ambitious one in the relationship, I really have a hard time finding someone that I think will like work for me in the long run. Or like just simply the fact that like I'm a woman out on stage at night, like a lot of guys can get possessive or jealous. So you must have a fiance that's not really too jealous and she's supportive and that type of thing. Or if you decide to have kids, I don't know if you will, but if you decide to have kids, like she'll probably be the one at home most of the time, right?
Well, so she's extremely supportive, and her and her family, my whole family, I have extremely supportive people around me, which I'm, again, my friends and family, I'm very thankful for that. So shout out to them listening to this, because probably my friends and family and, my couple of, my friends that are fans who I've met through music, are probably the people checking this out. So shout out to them. And Rachel is wonderful, and I'm just so lucky that, and she's musical and she sings and plays piano, and she's a better singer than I am. Like she's like classically trained, really, really good singer, and like she knows pop music, she knows rock music, she knows Broadway stuff. Like extremely talented woman, and like I always feel bad because I'm like carting her around to watch me sing, and I'm like, you must feel like she must be like sitting there going flat, he's flat, sharp, he's flat. No, I'm kidding. No, she doesn't have like a perfect pitch or anything like that. But like I'm like, I feel self-conscious sometimes, and I'm like, you actually know what you're talking about with this stuff. And like, at this point, I think I have a good idea what I'm talking about too. But it's great because I can, like even before I came over, I was like, does this mix sound okay? Does this sound like garbage, or am I, or have I just wasted a year and a half of my life? Like let me know what you think. So like she's heard the songs as much as I have. God bless her.
Oh my God.
So,
no, she sounds really awesome. Like I can only hope to find someone like that who's like supportive of me.
Definitely, and you will, and certainly. And like, but she does get jealous. Like anybody will get jealous, And like there was a time I was doing kind of the other thing the money thing is that sometimes I'll do solo acoustic gigs. Yeah. Because while I don't want to water down the band's brand. Yeah. By doing, Tucker's, East End, bar on a consistency with the band, because then we kind of turn into smaller. I don't know. I try to save the band for bigger things. Yeah. But acoustic, that's good money playing at. Yeah. What did I say? Ted's. Well, I forgot what name I used already. But whatever, like whatever the roadside bar that pays great. Yeah. And I love those gigs because like I get to show up acoustic and play whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. I usually won't take the gig as like a full-on cover gig. I'll say I play originals and I'll work in covers. And for a bar gig, I'll play more covers. But I'm playing Stones songs. I'm playing Springsteen. I'll throw in something that people at the bar might know occasionally. I'll take requests. That doesn't mean I'll play them. Yeah. But in all this, though, like, so like I'll play a gig like that and like some drunk woman might come up and kiss me on the cheek. And then I can see Rachel. I can see the eyes, But like I'm also kind of just like annoyed because like, fuck you for coming up and touching me. Like, I know I'm a man, and like I know it's like I have no reason to complain, in comparison. But like it's one of those things. It's like
it's like a double standard.
You shouldn't have any, anybody who's on stage. I don't care, how you identify. You shouldn't be able to touch.
Matthew Kerner.
We had this discussion. I think he and I talked about this too. Actually,
I went to go see him perform at Willie McBride's. He was with a different cover band. I don't remember their name right now, but they're like a punk cover band. Yeah. Oh God. Well, he knows what people know what I'm talking about. But I went to go see him at Willie McBride's, and I was there with his girlfriend. So his girlfriend was in the audience, and this woman, like a little older than me too. Like she was like, she seemed older than me, but not that old. She maybe seemed like 38, 39, 40 at most. And she was like so in love with Matt, and she was, I don't know if she went up and tried to kiss him or she was like whispering in his ear or something. But then I think she figured out that like me and his girlfriend were there to like see him. So she came up to us kind of like apologizing. She was like, oh my God. She was like, are one of you his girlfriend? And I'm like, that's his girlfriend, like bitch. Yeah. And like we were kind of like defensive, but apparently she like went up to him and was like whispering in his ear, going like, "You're so spectacular," or something.
Well, Matt is
like
spectacular.
that.
I'd say it in front of Leon. I'd be like, yeah, Matt's spectacular.
But I just thought it was so funny. I'm just like,
is.
I can't picture myself like going. I guess if you're a non-musician, it must be so mesmerizing because like I'm a musician. I can't picture myself like going up to a musician on stage and being like, "You're so spectacular." Like I just can't like picture myself.
Yeah, no, I don't know. And like, yeah, and it's really funny because like you don't even need to be good. And then not Matthew is good, so I don't mean Matthew, but like you go and like, it's just like, ooh, guitar.
Yeah, like
it's like I don't even need to take this thing out of the fucking case, do I? Which is like people, and it's not just people in like a sexual sense or like in like a horny sense, but like people just like even just like people who just want to be around the band, and like there's people just like are music fans that just want to be part and want to hang with the band. And there is something about it that, and I mean like I'm in the band, and I'm like there's something about seeing people with guitars on TV and listening to music growing up. There was something about it that pulled me to it.
I think there's something attractive about ambition, I would say. So like if you went through all the trouble to learn these songs and learn this music and carry all this gear and perform it live,
you're stupid enough to do all of that.
Like you have some type of passion and ambition, and then you have also the talent. Well, you were saying you don't have to have the talent, but
it helps.
It helps. But most of the time, some of these people actually have talent to back it up too. So I can see why it's like very attractive, but still it's like some of these people like we're talking like Doors style. I have seen the Doors movie, like where like women are just like sucking their dicks on stage.
Yeah, and it's just like insanity. And like going back to the Stones, like all that shit. There's a song that I'm particularly fond of right now called Starfucker. And they had to change the name on the album to Star because at the time their album company was like, no. And there's a line about giving head to Steve McQueen.
Oh my God.
The label was like, until we can actually get written consent from Steve McQueen, you can't put it out. And apparently he was cool with it. And they were like, he was like, cool,
That's
go
so
for it.
Funny.
But like, I mean, who wouldn't want to be name checked getting head in a Stones song? But like, yeah, so like, I don't know. There is that, like, I do love the dangerousness of rock and roll, and I do love that element of just that, anarchy level of it, But that said, I do think it should be a safe environment for everybody. And I kind of am very over the whole like boys club element of it. And like that. Yeah. And like I mean, I love the Stones. I like Zeppelin. But like they were also like really shitty. To women, they were also really just not good people, and at times, and again, I think everybody has the potential to be a shitty person, so it's not like I think there are worse people, but at the same time, it's just like I think like the Stones bass player like married like a 14-year-old at one point in time, which is like fucked, I
will say as like a female musician, amongst younger musicians my age, I get treated with respect and as an equal. But I was in a blues band once that was with an older gentleman, like who was about 70. I mean, he looked a lot younger. And actually this kind of like really quick goes back to what we were saying before about the gear. He looked really good for 70, and he says it's because he lifted gear. So maybe like he said it kept him in shape.
There's hope for me.
So maybe it's okay. But anyways, no, so we would do gigs together, and there was a lot of times we would do like open jams sometimes to try to get gigs. And I was with like older people in those settings, and they did treat me differently. Like when I would go up to like a man, like for example, I went up to this one guy who was a keyboard player at an open jam, and I was like, I really liked what he did, and I wanted to have like an intellectual conversation about it. So I went up to him and I was just like, hey, like, can you give me some pointers about playing blues? Like, he was a blues pianist, and like he wasn't giving me any like valid answers. He thought he was just trying to like impress me. He was just like, oh, it just comes through my fingers. And I'm just like, I'm not here trying to get laid. Like, I'm asking you a generic question. How did you get good at piano?
Tell me what intervals you're using, you fuck. Like, I'm not trying to.
Like, you could, his whole like attitude changed, and you can see he thought he was like a rock star. He was like, oh, it just flies through me, baby. Like, and he didn't say baby. I'm just like exaggerating his attitude, but like that was like his attitude. Like,
and I mean, like, again, there are moments where maybe it is something like that, but like in that moment of like he's obviously just being a dick and misreading that entirely. Which again, and like and not in his defense, because I don't want to defend him, but like he probably gets that a decent amount. There probably are a good amount of women going, what's this do? You know, what's this button? Can I touch your keyboard? I fucking hate the can I hold your guitar, or can I play a song?
Oh, women do that?
Not women, just anybody. But like, I just like, I feel like it's women. But like, no, it's not. It's anybody. Or
anyone
like,
who's not a musician.
Yeah, or they think they're a musician.
Yeah.
And I just, and again, I need to think about my phrasing with this. Just because I play the guitar and I've been doing it for a while doesn't mean I go up to the band playing at the bar saying, "Hey, let me play."
That's a really good point.
And I've been doing it a while.
Yeah.
Now, again, if I'm at a bar and somebody it pulls me up or it says, "Hey, come on up and jam."
Yeah.
You know, if I'm in the right place to do that, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, like people, and again, and most times, assuming, so I could be wrong, but most times these people haven't been playing, say, as long as we have. So they're probably like, a couple months in, and also have a couple drinks in. Yeah. And they go, "Oh, the fuck this guy, I could do that."
I
and
feel
then
like
it's like
the equivalent for that for stand-up comedy would be the hecklers. It's like the music version of hecklers. Like, so as a comedian, sometimes you get these people in the audience that they have a couple drinks in them, and they try to have like witty banter with the comedian as they're doing their show, and it's like, this isn't a group effort. Like, this is, like, it's a show, you're supposed to be quiet, and like you get some like kind of usually older people, but not always, sometimes young people do it too. They like try to like say something funny and like in the middle of the show, like, and you're just like, all right.
See, like, as like an obnoxious audience member, like in non-comedy things, if I'm in like a staff meeting or some bullshit like that, like, I'll be the first one to go, and have like some sort of side comment to make like 3 people laugh or whatever. Like, because I'm an attention whore. Like, I like that. But in a comedy show, even if it's like a very conversational comedy show, like, I forget what comedian it is or even what the bit was, but like, this isn't like Andrew Schultz, maybe. Yeah. But like, this isn't like a two-sided thing. Like, I'm up here, you paid to get in. Yeah. I'm entertaining you, whether you like it or not. Like, I'm not here to talk to you.
Not only that, but they ruin the punchline. Like, sometimes they'll stop and just be like, oh, like, they'll try to have a conversation with you in the middle of your joke, and I'm like, I didn't get to the punchline. Slow your fucking horses down.
You're like, I know it seems like I'm just telling a story and talking, but like, I've worked this out. Like, and like, you just fucked me up. And like, it's the same thing of like someone coming up and like trying to request a song in the middle of a song. Yeah. I'm like, I can't I'm doing this thing.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Playing music sucks sometimes. It's like, I love when there's people there, but sometimes it's like, oh, the people.
Yeah. It's like, you fucking, I had a couple more questions for you about, music. Okay. Oh, this is a great question. So I'm talking about like how to have a successful band, which it seems like you're doing.
In the process of working on.
How do you manage communication within the band? Like communicating with each other? How often do you do rehearsals? If there's conflicts within the band, like how does that all get worked out for you?
So we have like a group text right now.
Yeah.
And that's typically how we do most of the mass communication between the members. As we rehearse sometimes once a week. And like, we'll do that for like a couple weeks. Yeah. And like, the last couple weeks we've rehearsed once a week, but like, we've been doing stuff. Yeah. So like, usually at least once before a gig. Okay. So like, we're playing this Saturday. So like, we rehearsed last night. Okay.
I guess after you've been in the band for a while, you don't need to rehearse as much because you know the songs.
Yeah. And like, we rehearse, but again, if we were like back before COVID and we were doing like a couple, or doing a couple of weekenders a month, we would probably not rehearse that much because like, we're playing. Yeah. That's we're doing it. Know. But like, if we're gonna throw in a new cover or work on new material, that's more what the rehearsals are for me. Like, and we've also like, we've had a lot of different people in the band over the years just because of, people going to college, people moving, me being a prick, there's all these factors. We're surprisingly, I'm on good terms with pretty much everybody that's ever been in the band. We've had like 15
So you're
people.
the band leader, obviously, because you're the head person of the band. So you started, how long has it been around, the band?
So the band Seventh Son was started in 2010 when I was in high school for a one-off Battle of the Bands. It was just called Seventh Son. While simultaneously I was playing solo in Asbury Park and starting to cut my teeth. Okay. And at a certain point, our original drummer went off to school. Shout out Drew Aggie. I love you, buddy. and then we got James McIntosh, our current drummer.
Yeah.
And we were working on our first full-length record, and it kind of made sense because at that point, like, again, I was playing out more myself, and Seventh Son was kind of just like more of like my hometown.
Yeah.
And Bobby Mahoney was more like Asbury Park.
Okay.
So then at a certain point, it was like, well, we should just kind of combine the two because I kind of want to have a full band.
Yeah.
And I'm singing and playing lead guitar.
Yeah.
And writing all the songs.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, people are like, Seventh Son, oh, what's that? Oh, Bobby's band. Okay, well.
Yeah.
So, and I have, people who know me know that Bruce Springsteen is my hero. So it's my, E Street band, and we talk about it a lot, and like we don't don't love the name. It's long, it's clunky. People will get it wrong all the fucking time. But I didn't have to change the Facebook page when we changed it from Seventh Son to Bobby Mahoney and the Seventh Son.
I like it,
and I like it. I do like it, and we got it originally from an AC/DC lyric. Well, it's biblical, and like it's an old there's a bunch of references to it in like old blues music and shit. But we got it from a song called "Bad Boy Boogie." On the seventh day, I was the seventh son, and we scared the hell out of everyone.
When I first read it, I was like, "Oh, are there 7 members in the band?" That was
not even. No, that would only make sense.
Yeah.
4, sometimes 5, and like when we have like the Seventh Son Orchestra, when we have our extended friends show up and shit.
Oh man, I really want to see you perform live now. Like after seeing my friends like take videos of you, I'm like pumped. I have to check out your schedule.
If you're free Saturday night, we're at Asbury Park.
Oh, nice.
There you go. I don't know when this probably won't air after, but we play in Asbury Park a lot. We play the Yacht Club and on the Boardwalk, which we're playing Saturday.
I'm gonna include his like Instagram link in the information below. So if you guys are from New Jersey, from Asbury or like near Asbury, and you want to check his band out, I'm fucking pumped. You might run into me there. So
hell yeah. In the East Coast, we're trying to get we have gone as far as like Miami, Nashville, Chicago, Canada. So like we're trying to get back out to those. Pittsburgh, we've been a bunch.
What was one of your favorite cities to tour in? Like not even musically, just like you enjoyed the city. I guess travel to if you.
Nashville, I love.
I heard
New Orleans was really cool to visit.
Yeah.
That I really liked. We had a crappy gig, but it was a fun to really go there, and I'd like to get back there again. And the bands we played with were really cool. But the issue was a lot of the bars there, you don't have to pay a cover because you just get, especially on like Bourbon Street and all that, you just walk in and you get to carry your alcohol around.
Yeah.
But we were playing a bar that had a cover.
Yeah.
Which was a fatal mistake. But being from 20 hours away, we didn't really have that foresight, and no one told us.
Have you guys ever tried Austin, Texas?
No, and we'd like to definitely get to Texas. We want to get to California.
Yeah.
There's a lot they do. Midwest, South, and Southwest and West Coast that there's like an imaginary line that runs through the country that I don't know, I didn't make this up, but like at a certain point you have to be on the road for more than it makes sense to get to do like a show a night to get to California. You'd have to be out for financially to make it make sense. I mean, for us, for it to financially make sense, I just have to not leave the house. But because it's and talk about the money, when I bring the band out, we're not at a point where we have guarantees. It's at this point, it's still a mission to go out and make new fans in new places and meet new bands to play with and networking essentially. So we make money every night, but like it's all going back into gas or food.
It's it's kind of like because like once you do the tour and it's like you make the money, but it goes right back into the band.
And we're not making enough to have it be like a sustainable thing yet, unless we were all at the point where we literally were going to get rid of our apartments, burn our lives down, quit our jobs, and go and just do it full time. Yeah. But as much as I want to be on the road playing music full time, and I would love to be able to be playing a show every night, I don't think we're at the level where that would be one, productive or smart or helpful or even fun at a certain point. Because then that makes it, while right now I'm afforded the privilege to not compromise the art for the money. Yeah. But when if we're living on it and my drummer is also dependent on that money, we might need to take some other gigs. And occasionally we will take a gig that is like, this gig will pay well and, the van needs brakes. So, okay, we got to do this. But
it is a balancing act.
I try to limit, and again, I try not to waste the band's time. Yeah. I really try to make sure that if I'm going to bring them all in, that because and really make sure that.
How would you say your attitude is as a band leader? Are you a mean, like strict band leader?
Oh yeah, I'm a fucking bitch. I'm a jerk. Yeah.
Are you really?
Oh yeah. I mean, it just ask the band. I mean, I'll be like, yeah, no, I'm fair. I'm strict but fair, and they'll be like, no, he's an asshole. I really, again, I'm a people pleaser, so I really do try to people please.
It's so punk rock.
I know, yeah, but like I try to with my band. I try to put them first. So like when we stay at somebody's house, if we're on the road, I make sure that they're the first ones that get offered the beds. I'm the first person to sleep on the floor. I like my sleeping bag. Most of the time, all the time, I make sure that they get money before I do.
Yeah.
Because again,
that's kind of how I am too with that type of thing. Like some of the gigs that we do as a band, like if we get tips, like extra tips, I just give it to them. I'm just like, take the tip. Like we get our base pay, but like let's say we have like a tip jar on top of the base pay. I'm just like, you guys take it. Like, or I'll buy them food and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, and it depends on what it is, and like especially something like where I could Bobby Mahoney.
Yeah.
And the Seventh Son. So I feel a personal responsibility.
Yeah.
To either pay them,
take care of them,
and or make sure that it doesn't cost them.
Yeah.
So like, and again, they, of course, the last night they chipped me $10 for the rehearsal because I left my wallet in the car. But like typically
I rented out a studio.
Yeah, typically I pay for the rehearsals. Typically I pay for as much as I can myself, and then they are all very generous and helpful to me when I ask for it.
Yeah.
Because while it is my passion project, and they all are very supportive of trying to help me create whatever vision I have in my head, it's also very much their band and their time and their effort. And James has been with me for 6 or 7 years now, and Andrew's been with us for 5, and John's been with us for 3 or 4, and 12 other people before them. Like it's been it's a lot, and like I ask a lot of them, and that's not lost on me. Yeah. So I do try to make it as stress-free a process, and as not a financial burden, but luckily they all have jobs.
Yeah.
So like I then if I'm not able to pay them as much as I'd like to be paying them, at least I'm paying them the courtesy of here's something before I'm getting anything.
Yeah.
And my just utmost appreciation for everything they do for me. That's the right thing to
do, because I've worked for companies that were in bands that were like genuine companies that like didn't pay me on time. So like
it sucks. And like again, like not that there's always pay, but like when there is the pay to give, like
give whatever you can.
I can, and like they a lot of times they understand that a lot of it goes back into like they know I'm not going off and buying a yacht or anything with my with my yacht club money from Saturday night, but like. Well, even that, like, I'm not going to walk away with anything probably from that personally by the time I pay them and pay the photographers and pay Hannah, our merch person, and pay the other band that's playing, and my friend who's promoting it with us. I'm going to toss him something, and then, I'm sure I owe somebody else money. No, I'm kidding. But like, it ends up being a money pit for me. Yeah. But it's
what you want to do.
It's what I want to do. And it's one of those things, like you said, like, there's that opportunity, it's an investment. Yeah. Because down the road, there is that opportunity to make more money than anyone could ever fucking imagine.
I think you and I are, because you were saying in the beginning of the podcast, you're like, money's not my thing. Yeah. I'm just like you. I'm kind of like, money's not my thing either. I do have a lot of faith in kind of like struggling in the beginning and putting in that work. I do feel like it would pay off in the long run. Yeah. I live by myself. I'm able to maintain my life the way it is now. I don't have savings just flying in. I literally live paycheck to paycheck. I'm going to be completely blunt with everybody listening. I don't have, if there's an emergency, I'm kind of fucked. Like this in the summer, I had some issues with my car that like literally made my account negative. Like I was like, okay, I didn't have any money backed up for an emergency, but I work my ass off, and I really truly believe if you just have faith in yourself, and this isn't some power of now or like not power of now, like magical, what is that, law of this isn't even law of attraction thinking like, oh, if you just believe it, it'll happen. No, if you believe it plus
manifest.
Manifest. If you believe it plus work your ass off for it,
that's it.
Combine those two things, I really think it will happen. So I'm very much like you, where I'm like, yeah, I'm struggling financially now, but I only have one life to live, and I really want to do my best, and I want to really try to get the things I want to get in life. And I'm going to have to lose money in the beginning to do that. And that's the same thing for any major corporation that ever existed. Well, I don't want to say that. I'm getting ahead of myself, but like any new starter business, like it started with an idea that failed in the beginning until it became successful,
and like one thing that I tell a lot of my students, and I'm kind of an example of this, is have your dreams. Anything can happen. Like if you can think it can fucking happen in this world, good or bad, which is my anxiety going crazy. But like, it's, seriously though, anything can happen, and the strangest shit will and can happen. But you have to also be willing for your dreams to maybe look differently.
That's true.
Than you picture, because on one hand, I never would have thought I'd be a teacher. I never would have thought I'd be an educator. I didn't even really want to go to college very much. And I kind of went kicking and screaming. I ended up having a great time. But like, I didn't want any of that. And I never, if you told me 10 years ago that I would be a teacher, I would have laughed at you.
You'd been like, fuck you.
Fuck you, bro. No way. But, I do love it. But that said, I get to get paid to have a guitar in my hand for most of the day. And then I get to be in a band and play songs that I wrote with my friends. And like, we've done shit that people would go their whole lives not getting to do. Yeah. And I've played with my heroes. I've met my heroes. I've been very fortunate. And again, I have a band of brothers that follows me around and believes in what I'm doing. And there's people that have said that like my music has impacted their life. And even if one person is impacted by one of my songs, then it was worth doing, and with the money thing is like, at the end of the day, we can't take it with us. I've also heard this quote before too, which I really loved and made sense to like the subject we're talking about. I heard someone say, I don't remember who said it, I wish I could quote them directly because it was so good, but they said that their father had a job that he hated, but it was a money-making job. Like it was like an accountant or something. Like he had some job that like kind of was soul-crushing, but he made good money. Something happened with that job and he got fired and he didn't have the job anymore. And the moral of the story was, if you can lose everything with the job you hate, why not lose everything with the job you love? You know? And that's a very good point, and it's true. And like, and not to say everybody who's an accountant is unhappy, by no means. It's not true. But like, at a certain point though, if you're not going to be happy doing that, there's people that might be happy doing that. Do whatever you think is going to make you happy, and try things and fail. Like again, like I fail miserably, and like that's all part of it. And I'm not trying to give a TED talk or anything, but like it, just, and you only get, I like to say, as the great philosopher H. Montana said, life's what you make it, so let's make it rock. The great Hannah Montana.
There is another angle to this, and this is like the comedian in me, like thinking of like the devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. If everybody follows their dreams, like who the fuck is going to make the sandwich at Quick Check? Like,
no, it's a good point. No, and that's very true. And like, at the same time, like you do need that. And like, there's a lot of people that, right now are making sandwiches that probably play a mean guitar. Yeah. But like at a certain point though too, like you can be a sandwich, maker, and then have the guitar sitting in your bedroom, and maybe it's just for you. Yeah. Maybe you don't need to be an idiot like me and try to put your whole fucking life on Instagram.
There are some people out there who probably feel like everyone's talking about finding their dream, and I just don't have one, and I don't want one.
No, hang out, smoke pot, and don't do anything. Yeah. That's fine. Like at the end of and like no matter how like. And I thought about this while I was fortunate enough I got to go to France, not for music, but Rachel and I just went before the pandemic, and like seeing like just like shit older than you can find here, that, well, white people created things that you can find here because, obviously like, Native Americans have been here a lot longer, but like, and that's a whole nother tangent, but there's a lot of old shit over in Paris, and just seeing like these busts and marble figures of these guys that nobody fucking remembers. Yeah. So at a certain point, no matter how big an impact you make, Mick Jagger or Beethoven, Bach, at a certain point, every fucking human is going to be forgotten. Yeah. So at a certain point, all that matters is enjoying the time you have, and I think trying to let other people enjoy their time too, and helping other people to enjoy their time. Because again, at the end of the day, that's really all that matters. And if I can do that with a guitar, I'd rather do that with a guitar than make it a sandwich.
If someone wants, it's like if guitar is the thing that's going to make you happy, play guitar. If making a sandwich keeps you happy, make your sandwich.
Yeah, and like that
kind
said,
of find
though,
your place in the world and what feels right to you.
Definitely. And again, like you said, most people probably wouldn't decide to make the sandwich, but like you said, you need people to make the sandwich, and like there's nothing wrong with making the sandwich.
There could be people out there with like ish. I mean, I don't want to judge, but there could be. Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there. So imagine there was a person with like a disability of some kind that they were unfit for any job, but somehow they got hired to make this sandwich and they loved it. Like they were like, oh my God, I'm meaningful and I have this place, like, and it's kind of fucked up. I'm putting it that way where I'm just like, oh, only the special needs people can make this sandwich. But you know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be someone in the world who would love that job, you know?
No, definitely. And that's true for anything. And like there, and like in the vein of special needs, we live at a great time now where people are actually getting the resources they need. Yeah. And there are opportunities for people with special needs. So like, fuck yeah. Like, and again, like giving them that level of feeling like that they can get up and do something that's important. And like, it is important. Like I need my sandwich. I need that coffee. It's important. And like we all do. And like, again, it's about whatever you put in and hopefully makes a positive impact, in the world. And just because I'm playing the guitar now and fortunate to do it, doesn't mean I'm not going to end up making the sandwiches too. That's the other thing to think about. And like anything can change at a moment's notice.
If this is actually real,
I don't know if it's okay. I'll take my chances. But like like you never know what can happen. So like right now, I'm very thankful to make money mostly by playing the guitar. And like
I always say, make the money while it's there because it might not always be there. So if you feel overwhelmed, like oh my God, I have too many opportunities. Another pandemic could be around the corner. Just take the fucking opportunity.
Yeah, and
save the money.
No, and like it's definitely, and again, like finding that balance, and like again, it's good to do things, and I'm definitely not in a position to be turning down money. Yeah. But making the money as much in my own terms as much as possible. Yeah. And like I said, I never thought I'd want to be in education, but there is something rewarding in passing along my passion of music. Yeah. To the youths. Yeah. The youths. Youths. Joe Pesci. But like, because like, at the end of the day, I still many days feel like the 10-year-old still picking up the guitar for the first time. Yeah. And when I am able to pass that along to somebody else, like maybe my blip on the human radar isn't to be the world traveling rock star. Yeah. Maybe and I like to think of myself as a musical Indiana Jones, like teaching during the day and then going off on crazy fucked up adventures and fighting Nazis. Like it's good,
Even though I'm musically challenged, or not musically challenged, even though I'm movie challenged, I don't know how to phrase that. Even though I'm challenged with movie knowledge, I got that reference.
Good. Okay, there you go. So, but like, and like he teaches during the day and then he's off doing cool shit. So like I can appreciate that, even though it's not necessarily what my dream looked like. Initially, I'm doing it, and then like maybe I'm gonna teach the next Eric Clapton, or I'm hopefully less of a bitter old man than him. But like, because he's kind of old and bitter and kind of an anti-vaxxer now, which is sad to me. But like, the next Springsteen, and maybe it's one of the kids coming through my class. Yeah. And my impact was just to show him how to play an E chord.
Yeah, I do. That's another thing. Like, too, I don't want to keep you here too long because we're going over, but I do want to at least finish with this because I have a lot of thoughts about this. Another thing I'm realizing too is like me personally, this could be different for everybody, but I'm also realizing that a big part of this life for me is like your relationships with people along the way. So whether you're an educator, whether you're a rock star, whether you're making the sandwich at Quick Check, how are you treating the people around you? Are you helping people? Like it's like we're getting a little bit like hippy dippy here, but like I mean like. I don't know. Like I'm just like really making connections with the people that you're working with. You know what I mean?
It's about the connections with the people you're around. Yeah. It's also about your personal attitude about what you're doing. Yeah. Because some days that and again, as much as I love my job and I love that I love even playing in the band and doing all that. Yeah. Some days I just want to sit at home and not do that. I don't want to do any of it. And like. So, like, even because you could have the dream job, and have a shitty outlook about it. Yeah, like if Mick Jagger was had a shitty attitude about touring or like hated touring, his dream job would be miserable. A lot
of people do get to that point.
Oh yeah, and like I'm excited to hate touring because I want to be so sick of it. No, I don't actually. And like one day. We could be having a very different discussion. I'm like, I could think that's what I want, but then I could be on the road for a year and go, fuck, this sucks. So careful what you wish for. But also, it's about your relationship and your life and your attitude about it. Because like, yeah, you could be making sandwiches, but you could be rocking making sandwiches, and you could like, be like, it could be like Cheers, like your favorite customer walks in like, hey, this, the usual. Yeah, you could be like the mayor.
Yeah.
But again, it's what you do. It's what you make of it, what you do with it. Like, and again, like if you find that meaning, that little bit of like, it's like I was gonna make a Mary Poppins reference. You get that?
I have seen Mary Poppins.
Okay,
I've seen the Disney movies. I have seen.
Okay, thank God. I'm a Disney whore. It's pretty funny. The punk rock side of me and the corporate Disney shill are often at odds. But like it's like it's like that when they're cleaning up the bedroom. It's like you have to make it, any job there must be done. There must be an element of fun.
That's
right?
a really good fucking point.
It is. So like even like the days where have 7 students in a row, and if I play Seven Nation Army one more time, I'm gonna throw myself out a window. Song. I do too. I love it, but I teach it to all my childrens, which again it's great. But at a certain point, and if even if it's not that, I teach other things other than music too, because sometimes other things get a bit more frustrating than music. But like if I'm teaching something, or even if I'm having a rough rehearsal, like say Andrew is pissing me off, and I'm just like at a certain, like we just can't get whatever take we're working on or whatever. There sometimes is that inkling to be like, this sucks, but take that second to go, but it's a lot fucking better than anything else I'd be doing.
Yeah, you're doing what you love regardless.
And,
so sometimes you have to like kind of remove yourself and be like, wait a second, like I'm at a rehearsal period.
This is a great problem to have.
Yeah.
Like again, like like having working all day and then having rehearsals and podcast tapings to do early in the day. It's like, I have to go hang out with Andrea tonight. And it's like, but I'm thankful for the opportunity that somebody wants to talk about me and hang out with talk about music, and like I'm happy and thankful to have the opportunity to hang and talk with another musician and comedian, and it's great. So like we're like rehearsing last night. It's like at a certain point, like, God, do I really want to schlep to rehearsal? It's like, fuck yeah, I do, because like on one hand I'm tired, but like it's what I want to do.
Dude, it's like
thing.
You're living the life.
Exactly. So it's like embrace it, because there's other people that would love to be doing it too. Yeah. So again, make that sandwich.
That is a good way to conclude. So we're just a little bit over time today, so we're going to end right here. But it was a pleasure to have him here today. Again, this is Bobby Mahoney. I'm going to leave his information down below if you guys want to find him on Instagram and see his live performances and everything like that. Is there anything you want to tell them about finding you out there, or did I cover all that?
You pretty much did. Yeah, just Bobby Mahoney and the Seventh Son. Anywhere we can steal music nowadays, it's there. So thank you.
Again, this is the Pranzata podcast. If you're new to this, don't forget to hit subscribe, don't forget to hit like, don't forget to comment on anything we talked about today. And this is episode 34. I will see you guys next week for episode 35. Bye.